I figured I would do a little video while I'm waiting for my car to warm up. No updates. You just read the title. So the conversations I'm tired of that keeps popping up on my news feed for well, not my news feed, like my feed on YouTube, is this basically men versus women. And it's like regardless of what genre you looking at, it's like you see the videos. It's whether, I mean, definitely, like I watch some Albert and Preach videos, so I definitely seen, you know, stuff dealing with that. Then when, you know, with the whole drama that they was going through with another set of YouTubers. Then when it starts going into other stuff, when other people are commenting, whether it's like female commentary, whether it's, you know, Christian commentary, it's wherever I go, I hear about these conversations, particular with black men, black women. And it's like you hear about how, like, a lot of times they say, like, the modern black man, you know, is you know, this, that, and the other. The modern black women is this, that, and the other. First time I came across it was a Kevin Samuel video. So I was looking, I was like, no. Then when the Derek Jackson stuff, you know, hit the fan, it was like everybody was kind of like tuning in, and it was just like, then it was like every day, that's all I see. Not saying, you know, Derek Jackson's, you know, stuff was what, you know, what happened, but it was a lot. So a lot of times, you know, like people, they say, well, men should be this and that, and they talk about high value men, and, you know, alpha, beta, theta, sigmas, and all this stuff. Like, men got their own, you know, fraternities going on, and it's ridiculous. And then, you know, then it's wrong for a woman to want their expectations and somebody else. And there is a difference between having a preference and just being blatant prejudice and or colorist. There's a big difference. There's nothing wrong having a preference, but when it comes to being colorist, it is. When you're talking about you not a night rider, that's colorist talk. So there's a difference between that type of language. But on either side, I'm like, stay in your lane. If you don't want to date this demographic, then leave them alone. If that's not even your cup of tea, that's not even who you checking for, then why you always gotta bash them? And I especially don't even understand, especially like if you come from a black woman, you got black aunties, grandmas, and sisters, and they cool, then that should let you know that all women ain't cool. I mean, all women ain't bad, or some women are cool. And then when you call people, well, I'm not saying all women are bad, or I'm not saying all men are bad, then say that. And a lot of times I think whoever they have on their podcast or whoever they have on their videos as a guest or a co-host, sometimes they just got a poor representation of either demographic, whether it's male or female. And people got to understand that is not the representation of you. If you don't agree with them, you know, then you don't agree with it, and keep going. Keep it pushing. But I get tired of it. And like sometimes, you know, even this last video I saw, you know, people were saying, you know, oh, the men, you know, or I will say, they say, you know, this is an expendable man, and, you know, they are so embarrassing. And, you know, if he want to embarrass himself, let him embarrass himself. But you know what? I can't be bothered with that. And he's embarrassing for us. No, he's embarrassing for himself. And that's when, you know, and if he's embarrassed to the men, then, you know, step up. If there's stuff that women are doing that I say is embarrassing, if I like it, you know, so be it. If I don't like it, then so be it. But I'm like, it ain't got nothing, even if it's embarrassing to me, it ain't got nothing to do with me. But when somebody from a different demographic or a different cultural background comes to me, I'm like, that's a stereotype. That's what these are, stereotypes. You can't just lump everybody in one group. And you can't say it how, and just like I say, you shouldn't say that all black men, do this, or all black men don't support black women, or all black men. That's false. I'm a married black woman that owns her own business. And I get support from black men. I get support from my husband. I get plenty of support from black male supporters. One of my mentors is a black man. So that narrative does not apply to me. And then if somebody was to say that, well, you're different. But then don't make it across the board. And how they say, well, women are this and women are that and stuff like that. That's not all women. Sometimes when it comes to women, it's not all about monetary values, because there are some trash dudes out here that make 6 figures plus every year, but their personalities suck. They have no emotional intelligence. They can't connect to a woman, on the way that a woman, how they say, women are nurturing, women are emotional. There are some men that make that make that type of money. They can't connect. So for some women, yes, the money is nice, but it ain't everything. If you can't connect, on a same level, emotionally and mentally, because that's where you get a lot of women, then what's the point? So my thing is, and maybe because I am a black woman, I don't see other races doing this race baiting or this colorist talk or, this gender bashing, but I don't see it. It seems like it's us. And you know what? Have your groups discussion and stuff like that. And another thing is too, even after watching his last video, he kept saying, well, back in the day. And I'm talking about like, dude, back in the day, yeah, women couldn't even work and couldn't have a property, but the timeline you talking about, y'all couldn't even do nothing either. So I'm like, how far back in the day you want to go? If you want to talk 50s and 60s, I mean, still, women still didn't have, a lot of rights and stuff. I mean, women voting rights is not that far away. We're women as a whole had a lot of catching up to do. And so it's just like, because you see in the projection live, and a lot of times in one generation that is still alive, you can see the projection going up high, where you can see like the men, they have always been, steadily climbing up. But for when you compare the two, it seems like women has just been escalating on a faster pace, because we had a lot of ground to cover and a lot of things we had to catch up on. I won't even say, you could say within the past, you don't even have to say the past 100 years, say the past 50 years, maybe the past 75 years, because it is 2022. So maybe the past 75 years. But there's like, my mom is about to be 70. So it's like, that's only like one generation back for a lot of people. So it's like, that's not that long ago. So it's like, so when it looks like women, I mean, and my thing is, don't knock a woman. And, it's just because she wants better and stuff like that. And then people say like, well, when she does this and women get opportunities, it's harder for a woman to get a loan, especially for a black woman. It's harder for a woman to get capital. It's harder for a woman a lot of times to get taken seriously in, a professional setting. It is different. It is very different. So it's just like when women do get resources, like whether it's a MWBE or is like, it shouldn't be frowned upon. It should be congratulated. Men can get a DBE, when it comes to like businesses and stuff like that, so you can have your own designated contracts that you want. I'm like, there's always been resources and stuff for men in general. Didn't matter the race. Maybe on that totem pole, maybe black men were at the bottom, but even still, the black men were still higher up than the black women, and in a lot of cases, women in general. So it's like, it's like, stop it. Just stop. And just stay in your lane and worry about you. And if a woman is coming up, a woman is coming up. And the last thing I want to say is, when they say like, well, when a woman, they was talking about hypergamy, and when a woman goes up, she wants somebody to be on her level. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with a woman to be like on her same level? Nobody wants to struggle, and nobody wants to struggle alone, because you can be in a couple and you can still feel like you're struggling alone. What's wrong with that? There has been studies where there are more women getting their college education than, the male counterparts, specifically the black male counterparts. Do I think you have to get a degree to do better? No. Does it help? Absolutely. I have a trade, but I also have a degree. So sometimes I have to fall back on my degree to help on the back end of my trade that I'm in now. So, and if something were to happen where I can't work in my field anymore, especially with all these lockdowns and stuff, guess what? I still have a degree to fall back on. So it's like, on either side, I'm just like, because I don't want to say just one side, but on either side, step your game up. If you're not feeling happy or proud about yourself, or you feel like, this and that should be happening, first look in the mirror and see where you stand, and see where you fall, and work about developing yourself. And if if that person doesn't fit in your ideal person, then keep it going. If the person rejects you, then you're not